Most people have these dreams and ambitions, but as soon as they've done their 9 to 5, they're tired and they're gonna sit on the couch and watch TV. Well, if you really analyze how you're spending your hours, most people are spending hours and hours and hours and hours on Instagram, social media right now, right? People spending hours watching television shows, right? There's Power. I don't even know what TV shows are out there right now. So they're watching all these different shows, right? They're even in intramural leagues, right? They're playing as if they're going to be LeBron James. Like, yo, your time is up. You don't have time to be out here playing ball for 4 or 5 hours a day. You need to be locking in and really honing in on what it is that you want. Why am I going to be entertained when I'm not where I need to be in life? Right? So why am I going to devote any time and energy watching another man, another woman, another person work? That's like me showing up to your job and you working in the bank and just say, hey, I'm just gonna watch you for the day. It's entertaining. Like, why watch the game when I have the opportunity to be the game?
Pay attention and listen, we about to teach class. Inside the vault, my man Ash Cash. So get your man right. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. You see him, change your life. Millionaire mindset, the best on earth. Blueprint, the wealth, the knowledge network. So get it while you can, and he's standing right here. Just come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Come inside the vault and see black millionaires. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You won't ask cash, you can catch it right here in the vault.
All right, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. I am excited. So first and foremost, this is the greatest money mindset show on the planet. And so when we talk about Inside the Vault, I'm talking about metaphorically and literally, like we're literally inside the vault, but metaphorically, we get inside the mindset. And so we bringing legends, we bringing people who are revolutionizing the game. I got somebody who is a young legend, somebody who has the mindset that says, listen, I know what I want. I don't care who you are, what you stand for. If you are not on my vision, I'm going to do this the way I need to do this because I have this vision and nothing's going to stop me. I got I was Airbnb before Airbnb. Yo, I got a former banker, so we going to talk that same language. My guy, Doug Depte. What's up, Doug?
What's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
Man, love, man. I'm so happy to be here. It's another beautiful day to get it.
Yes,
I just
sir.
want to thank you for having me on your platform and just be able to share that information, share that value.
Yes, sir. Now I appreciate you, man. Like I'm a fan of yours, man, because there's a lot of people that say, so first and foremost, there's a lot of people who know what there's not a lot of people who know what they want, right? A lot of people just sort of like go through life and just try to figure it out along the way. But you're somebody that had a vision. And you stuck by that vision. Years later, that vision has paid off tremendously. But also somebody who, was not afraid to take risks. Somebody who's not afraid to make sacrifice, right? Because I think that one of the things like the famous Mike Tyson quote that says that everybody wants to win, but nobody wants to get punched in the face, right? And it's like, yo, if you want to win, you gotta know that you might get a bloody nose, you might get punched in your face, right? And so you were somebody who really kind of exemplified in your actions that you are willing to do whatever it takes, right, to reach the level of success that you knew, right? You know abundance is your birthright, and you were like, yo, I know abundance is my birthright. I'm willing to take a sacrifice in order to get there. And so I'm teeing this up, but before we even get there, right, y'all gonna have to watch to get there. I promise you. Before we get there, for those who don't know, who is Doug Depte?
All right, so Doug Depte, let's see, I grew up in a place called Blue Bell, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia, and came from like a middle-class family and so forth, right? And lived with both my parents, thankfully. They had finance backgrounds, dad CPA, dad was in the record business, mom was a pharmaceutical and finance, right? But my brother was locked up. He was locked up. We had to go to a place called Graterford. So every single Sunday, we're going out to Graterford. I'm putting money on his books. Anytime I'd have a birthday, I'm putting money on his books. And that whole experience going to Graterford prison was
And what was your brother locked up for?
He was locked up. He was selling drugs.
Okay.
Yep. So he was a dope boy. Had all the flyest gear. I looked up to him. Really. He's 15 years older than me. But going through Graterford was a situation where you could imagine being in middle school, getting patted down, getting searched, having to turn around, put your hands up. So it was completely traumatizing. But I was
cough and all that stuff.
All that. Listen.
Yeah.
So just going through that experience, it traumatized me. To be honest with you, I was like, yo, whatever my brother did, I don't want any parts to a point where I have to be somewhere in here, right?
Yeah.
So my parents, they broke it up in terms of, hey, every Sunday we would do that, but they took us to open houses. They took my sister and I to open houses. Took my little nephew to open houses. So now I got excited about seeing these properties, talk about properties that had the cookies in the oven, had the different playrooms and so forth. And I'm talking about just expanded my whole mindset that one day I know that I want to have properties. I want to be able to own something like this one day. Yeah. So I was thankful for that experience. So, growing up, I went to a school called Germantown Academy, and they recruited me to play basketball. I didn't even know they recruited people in 5th grade to go to a private school that cost $30,000, right? And my parents, they didn't have $30,000 to pay every single year for me to go to school. Yeah. So luckily I got a basketball scholarship. My mom was a finesser in regards to knowing how to get what she wanted for a very low cost. My dad was extremely, extremely frugal. But by going to that school, it just opened up my whole mindset, my whole horizons, right? So it's almost like, once you're exposed and see things, you can't unsee it.
Absolutely agree.
So now I was seeing things like, I was going to bar and bat mitzvahs, right? For those that don't know, in the Jewish religion, when you turn 13, if you're a guy and turn 13, it's their rite of passage. That's a bar mitzvah. And the women's same thing is a bat mitzvah. So these are huge weddings where families are paying 50 to 100 grand just for one day, the limo service, putting them up in chairs and so forth. And what blew my mind away was on one bar mitzvah, they pulled out, they were getting Range Rovers, limo service, trips to Australia. So it seemed too much. Yeah. But really what that did was it piqued my curiosity. I could have gotten jealous, like, oh man, I wish I could have these things. Yeah. Or I'm envious of these guys. But no, I said, let's dig a little deeper. Yeah. What do these families do? Yeah. There were doctors, there's lawyers, but they all had the commonality of owning real estate, right? So it just got to the point where they had apartment buildings, beach houses, right? Shore houses. We didn't know nothing about them. My parents didn't take us to the beach, right? These guys would go to their shore house, their cabins. So it just piqued that interest that, I need to be in the real estate. Yeah. My parents were taking me to the prison and seeing those open houses. These guys, the families, the rich families going to their houses and so forth, seeing this real estate. They're renting out people like Allen Iverson back in his heyday for birthday parties. So I said, I want to be like this one day. So that commonality of owning real estate just stuck with me, right? And I remember my dad gave me this book, Richest Man in Babylon, back when I was in 7th grade. Yep. That book to this day, I read it at least once a year, sometimes twice, 3 times a year, simply because those core principles is what stuck with me today. Yeah. But I wasn't ready for that in 7th grade. But then when I was in college, went to University of Delaware, graduated early in 3.5 years with a finance degree. Nice. But I was one of those guys that, yes, I did party. I wasn't just all the time in the library, but I got efficient with my time. I realized that the time is the most important thing that you have. So now in college, there's days where you're only taking 2 classes a day, 3 classes a day. But I woke up extremely early, knocked out all of my work for school, went to class. Then I was still able to party almost every other day. And they're like, Doug, you're always at the parties, but you're still getting good grades. How are you doing it? Yeah. The secret was waking up early. And the reason why I had that ability to wake up early was because when I was a kid, I wasn't able to sleep past 6 o'clock. My dad would knock on my door at 5 o'clock and say, yo, Doug, it's time to clean this house. We had a 5,000 square foot house. I'm sitting there scrubbing carpets, right? Doing whatever it took. But I knew that that's what I had to do. And I'm thankful for that. At the time going through it, I'm like, yo, Dad, why are you waking me up? Right. Other kids sleeping until 12 playing video games. Yeah. No, he built that work ethic in me. Yeah. And now that work ethic stuck with me. Yeah. So while I was in college, while other guys are smoking, partying and so forth, when these jobs, this is Bank of America. So right in Delaware, if you know, there's tons of banks. That's the hub of banking, especially for the credit card division. Yeah. So these banks and different companies will come to the actual school and do interviews. But most of the guys that I would talk to, they weren't going to these interviews because they were partying. And they would see me walking around campus with a suit on and a tie on because I'm going to interviews because I'm paying my own way through school, right? So I'm working the summer breaks, winter breaks, spring breaks. I'm talking about putting in 16 hours a day, working at Nutrisystem, selling weight loss food over the phone because I knew that I had to foot the bill. Right? These other guys, they might be tacking on huge loans. They might have family members paying for the way through school. But since I had to pay attention. I couldn't afford to miss classes, right? So now these jobs are coming in. I locked in the job with Bank of America in their leadership rotational program. And this leadership rotational program, they picked me. And I was the only person that looked like me, almost like in the whole bank, and 4 other colleagues. So I'm there, I'm working. They gave me $50,000 with a $5,000 signing bonus. But I remember to this day, it was a traumatizing experience. We're going up the elevator, 5th floor in Bricebridge, right in Wilmington. going up the 5th floor. And there's this lady, well, we were with HR, but as we're getting off the elevator, this lady, she was in tears. And she had a brown box just sitting there with tears, like waiting to get on the elevator. I'm like, I asked HR, like, hey, what's going on? Why is she crying? She's a grown woman. What is she crying for? They're like, oh, don't worry about it. We just had massive layoffs. Right? We had to make room for the new guys. So that stuck with me. I'm like, man, this person gave their life like 15, 20 years to the bank, had kids in college, they had mortgages, they had all this stuff, but just like that, they let them go. So immediately something clicked in my head, like, this can't be it. I can never rely on somebody else to put food on my table, right? Because if you give permission for someone to feed you, now you give them permission to starve you, right? So that's when I was like, you know what, that's not it. So I worked at Bank of America, and I'm talking about I gave them 5 years of my life, putting in 70 hours a week of work, right? I'm talking about grinding, and I'm talking about every time I would go in for a raise or that year-end review, they say, hey, Doug, your meets this year. And this was during when the economy was crashing and so forth. Your meets this year, so we don't have any money in the budget to give you a raise, to give you an increase. I'm like, but I just gave you 70 hours of my life every single week. And I'm only salaried for 40 hours. So now you're giving me, basically you got 30 hours of free for me. So that's over, like if I had to go back and sue them, it's like, yo, I need that money back.
You causing me trauma right
now.
It's like, man,
listen.
Memories, bro.
So they took like 40 grand right from me, all those free hours of me putting in the work. But I said that was part of the sacrifice. This was part of the sacrifice, right? Because who was my biggest investor was going to be Bank of America. So Bank of America was my biggest investor when it came into real estate because they funded my 9 to 5, right? So they're giving me money every single 2 weeks. So I'm using that money and I'm putting it to work for me. So at the time, I was living in an apartment building for 1 year with a girlfriend at the time that we were dating for like 3 years. So I said, you know what? I don't want to rent. Like, I know too much. I read Richest Dad and Poor Dad. I know that the value of ownership, right? So I ended up buying this property, brand new construction, $250,000 for 3.5% down. So there's a program called the FHA loan program, which everyone who doesn't have a house, they need to take advantage of it.
I think I bought my first house. I was 25 years old.
25, exactly. We right around the same age. So even at making $50,000 a year, I was still able to buy a $250,000 house.
Yo, oddly enough, I was working at Bank of America when I bought my first. That's crazy.
Look at that. See. So I bought my first property, and you could imagine, like, I'm in the 24, something like that. So my friends like, oh, Doug, you're crazy. You're taking on debt. You're gonna have to pay that for your lifetime. Don't buy a house. Just continue to rent. And then so I bought the house anyway. And my girlfriend at the time, she's like, oh, let me be on the deed of that property. I'm like, well, how much are you bringing to the table? She said, oh, I'm not bringing anything to the table. I said, oh, okay, so I'm just gonna put up my $16,000. Right. And you're just gonna be on the deed and have half of this. We're not even married. What type of good sense does that make? Right. My parents taught me better than that. Listen, you're not doing that.
She tried to finesse us.
She tried to finesse me, right?
Finesse you.
So we got this brand new construction, 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath townhome, right? New construction. I watched it being built and everything. So we're in our 20s and we're living in the master bedroom. I said, cool, mortgage $1,300. I said, cool, this is nice, but I don't want to pay this mortgage. So what do you mean you don't want to pay? Like, you sound like a 30-year obligation to pay this mortgage. I don't want to pay it. I said, what I want to do is I want to rent these rooms out. Rent these rooms? Are you crazy? Like, I don't want to live. I just got out of college where I was living with roommates and so forth. I want this freedom, right? We're adults now. So I said, no, we want to rent this room out. So my hands were completely tied behind my back. She didn't want a lady our age living in the property, which, completely understand. We don't want any competition in the house. Didn't want a guy our age in the property either. And she didn't want a creepy old man living in the property, don't want to be creeping around and so forth. Understand. So my hands were completely tied behind my back. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna find somebody. I'm determined. I'm gonna find somebody. So I found this retired grandmother on Craigslist looking for a place to stay. $750 she was willing to pay. Nice. Right, she's down there in the cut, like we three level building, so she's right on the first floor, right in front of the garage. So $750. $750 hit my palm of my hand. $750 plus first, last, and security. So it was quite a bit of money that hit my hand, right? Over $2,100 that hit the palms of my hand. I'm like, man. It's like something went off right there. I said, this is the moment I've been waiting for. This is the moment I've been waiting for somebody to put money in my hand just for providing them with a roof over their head. Right, and when we think about it, what do people need? They need food, shelter, and water. So if I can provide one of the three, I'm always gonna be in business.
Hey, how you guys doing? Hold on, don't press that button, because that's what I do every time I'm looking at an ad that I don't want to see. This ad just happened to be life-changing. I just happen to own one of the biggest home healthcare companies in the state of Georgia. I can help you create your own. Just to give you a little bit of insight, I send out registered nurses, LPNs, and CNAs to take care of people inside of the homes that cannot take care of themselves. But guess what? You don't have to have any medical background, and you don't have to have any medical knowledge. So if you're wanting to change your life and you have a passion for actually taking care of people, then go ahead and sign up for Home Healthcare Blueprint. I'll see you guys later.
Right, because everything comes down to real estate. Yeah. So now we're sitting there, I got grandmom chilling, she's living her life, she doesn't even use the kitchen. So I woke up, I said, you know, we have 2 more bedrooms that they're completely empty, right? And this is a nice sized townhome. I want to rent those rooms out. She said, oh no, you're absolutely crazy. There's no way I want these people living right across the hall from us. Like, I don't know these people. And I was okay, like, hey, you can get 2 of your friends living here. Right. She didn't want no one living in those 2 bedrooms. So I woke up another morning, I said, you know what? Do you want to be rich or do you want to be poor? And she was like, she thought about it for a second, but she answered kind of quick. She's like, I'm okay being poor.
Wow.
I said, okay, being poor. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I said, this is crazy. I just seen way too much. I'm talking about, I seen the limo service, I seen the Range Rovers, they're renting Allen Iverson out. Like, I seen too much. I'm not okay being poor.
Absolutely.
So I know that I didn't go to school, grind for 3.5 years. I know that I didn't stay on that telephone for 16 hours, paying my way through school just to be okay being poor. I could have been okay being poor and worked at Burger King, my first job. But I wasn't okay with that. So I went to work, and I'm pacing, I'm talking to people, talking to my brother, and came home the next day. I said, you know what? It's not gonna work.
Ooh.
It's not gonna work.
Wait, so you talk about your girlfriend?
My girlfriend.
That you was 3 years.
Yep, 3 years and some change.
And you came home and was like, not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. So what do you mean?
It's not gonna work.
It's just not gonna work.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna give you 2 weeks to pack up all your bags.
Nah. Not a 2 week notice.
A 2 week notice. Yo, I had to.
Yeah.
I had to.
Yeah.
And some people look at me like, yo, this guy's crazy. He was in love for 3.5 years. How can he just drop the axe like that?
How could you be so heartless?
How can you be so heartless?
Yeah.
Because I knew that I'm still young.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I were to take that other pill and go and stick with her, I would still been working at Bank of America.
Wow.
I would still be putting in 70 hours a week at work, right? I still would have been in that same spot. I still would have been upset, aggravated, and I would have been doing this until I was 67.5 years old, right? Because that's the best year to retire, because you get all the benefits and so forth. But I wasn't willing to do that. I was willing to take a risk on myself, give her a 2 week notice. So that's short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain. So yes, there's some casualties in war, right? It's part of the process. Right, and unfortunately, she was a casualty, but we had to keep moving. You know, the show kept moving. So now, gave her the 2 week notice. She probably didn't really believe me. There was tears involved and so forth. Where did I go? I went right back on Craigslist. People sleep on Craigslist. And we'll talk about it later, but I made millions on Craigslist. So I put out the ad, found these 2 guys from Las Vegas. They're working at the Venetian. They were relocating to Delaware. At Delaware Park was a casino. So I moved them in. The same day that she's moving out, she's walking down the steps. These 2 random guys I met on Craigslist are coming up the steps. People are like, yo, Doug, you do your background check. I figured if they got approved, you know, working at a casino, you got to go through some heavy background checks. I figured, you know, most of the heavy background checks were done working at a casino. So these guys come up. They're living, they paid me $650. Another first last security, so a whole bunch of wad of cash.
Nice.
Let me
do the math. $650, $1,300 plus $750. You had $21,500 and your mortgage is $13,000, so you up $700 or $650.
Yeah, $650.
Sheesh.
So most people be like, yo, I'm cool. You working at Bank of America. And mind you, people at Bank of America thought I was absolutely crazy. First thought I was crazy buying a house so young. Thought I was crazy. Renting to a random grandmother, wasn't even my grandmother. Now they thought I was crazy for getting rid of, you know, my girlfriend for 3.5 years almost at this point. And then they thought I was real crazy moving some guys from Vegas. Guys I never even met, never even really seen them, what they even look like, But I knew that they were willing to live somewhere, and that the Delaware Park did their background check. So I said, hey, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and rock out with this. So now I'm still a young guy, living in the master bedroom. We got the soaking tub, we got the shower, stand-up shower, we got the double vanity sinks, we got the walk-in closet, we got the balcony off the bed, I got the king bed, you know, with the mirrors set up and everything.
Living the life.
Living the life. So then I'm like, you know what? I woke up another morning, I said, I don't need any of this. I'm not trying to impress no one.
Wow.
Right? Because I'm all about being frugal and just, I'm not trying to be flashy and try to, you know what I mean? So I said, you know what?
Dash out the pops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, extremely frugal. I mean, he drove like a 1985 Beamer like all through my whole life.
Right.
So now I said, you know what? I don't need any of this.
Yeah.
So I took that king bed that I had and I moved it down to my 2-car garage.
Wow.
2-car garage. So I moved the king bed, my little dresser
It's
set
cold in Delaware though.
Yeah, it's cold. It gets cold.
And you moved to the garage.
Yeah, so my garage, no insulation.
Sheesh.
And with the garage door, like typically the garage door opens and closes.
Yeah.
To this day, my garage door is stuck, completely stuck. I can't even open it.
Wow.
Because I took the spray foam insulation and sprayed the seams to seal it in all the air so it was airtight.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm in this garage and I made a little makeshift for my closet, put my suits up and so forth. Wow. But I lived in this garage and I rented out the master bedroom for another $750.
Oh.
So now we cash flowing serious, right?
Oh, yeah. So now, right?
Yeah.
So just for context,
Yeah.
if I do the math correctly, 21.5, now you got 750, you literally doubled, right?
Yep.
So now your mortgage is $1,300.
Yep.
You're making enough to pay your mortgage and you're making your mortgage back. So now you're making an extra $1,300
Right.
a month on top of.
Yeah, it was $2,800 minus $1,300. So now we cash flowing about $1,500.
Right.
We got a little, you know, of course I'm covering the cable and some electric and so forth out of that.
Yeah.
So I'm clearing probably about like $1,250 a month.
Yeah.
Right, and that's in addition to working for the bank.
Right, and you what was your title at the bank?
A senior financial analyst.
So now you're a senior financial analyst.
Yep.
Wearing a suit, making how much you making?
So at that time they bumped me up to $70,000.
So you're making $70,000 in your 20s.
Yeah.
Plus you're making extra $1,300. Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's over extra 13, 14 grand a year.
Absolutely.
Right. By me being willing to sacrifice.
And you're living rent free. Like
I'm living rent free.
Yeah.
Right. I'm in the garage. So people ask like, hey, Doug, it's cold in here. No problem.
Yeah.
And me being frugal, I really didn't want to put a space heater in there. So I had a sub-zero sleeping bag. So for anyone that doesn't know what a sub-zero sleeping bag, this is a sleeping bag where literally you hop in a cocoon.
Yeah.
And it has a hood attached to it.
Yeah.
You can really tighten up right around the eyes and be in that cocoon.
Yeah.
And it's able to withstand negative 20 degrees. So now it's completely cold in here. So I got the sub-zero sleeping bag right in this garage. Yeah. And I was happy. That was the best 2 years of my life, bro.
Hey, so you did this for 2 years?
2 years.
Nice.
And the reason why, because I was really testing myself. Like, what am I able to do? What am I able to put up with to reach my goals?
Yeah.
And my goals are freedom and mobility, financial freedom, retiring early, right? To live life on my time, right? So yes, right now I'm giving 70 hours to this other bank.
Yeah.
But that's just temporary. That's part of the sacrifice.
Right.
So every day I would hop into that cocoon and it's almost like, you know, I was just getting ready to branch out to become a butterfly, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
So now,
well, that's a bar.
You know what I mean?
Oh wait, don't miss that.
Don't let it go ahead.
Nah. Don't miss that. Hey yo, my guy said, yo, every day I was hopping into the cocoon so I could be that butterfly. Yo, it's like a rap bar. Like, yo, you understand the caterpillar is in the cocoon, it's going through, it's going through the pain of being in the cocoon. It's building up its strength, it's building up its wings to fly as a butterfly. Chill, Doug. Yeah, my fault. Chill.
So I'm tapped all the way in. Yeah. And mind you, while I'm in this cocoon phase, I cut out going out partying.
Yeah.
I cut out watching TV.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not watching the game.
Yeah.
I'm not watching LeBron James. I'm not watching, whoever's playing out here. I'm not watching the Eagles play, right?
Yeah.
Like, why watch the game when I have the opportunity to be the game? Right? So why am I going to devote any time and energy watching another man, another woman, another person work?
Yeah.
That's like me showing up to your job and you working in the bank and just say, hey, I'm just going to watch you for the day. It's entertaining.
Right.
Why am I going to be entertained when I'm not where I need to be in life?
For sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I could go ahead and finish my 9 to 5 and go, warm up a hot and ready real quick and sit down on the couch for 4 hours, 5 hours, right? And just be entertained and be, man, it's a tough day at work. I'm gonna go do the same thing tomorrow, right? Which most people do. Most people have these dreams and ambitions, but as soon as they've done their 9 to 5, they're tired and they're gonna sit on the couch and watch TV.
Yeah.
So now let's say if they have a significant other, they say, hey, I'm gonna do this real estate thing. This guy Doug got me all pumped up. I'm ready to go hit it.
Yeah.
And then after work, they go sit on the couch and their significant other is observing them.
Right.
Like, this guy that's sitting on the couch wants me to be a part of his dream, right? Part of his vision.
Right.
And he wants me to be more excited than he is. He's not even that excited by sitting on that couch.
Right. Yeah.
Right? He's okay sitting on the couch. He's okay being complacent where he's at because it's comfortable, it's easy.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people take the easy road, but I was willing to go ahead and tap in. I'm talking about I'm reading books. I'm listening to audio books, right? So all that free time, people are like, I just don't have the time. Well, if you really analyze how you're spending your hours, most people are spending hours and hours and hours and hours on Instagram, social media right now, right? People spending hours watching television shows, right? There's Power. I don't even know what TV shows are out there right now. So they're watching all these different shows, right? They're even in intramural leagues, right? They're playing as if they're going to be LeBron James. Like, yo, your time is up. You don't have time to be out here playing ball for 4 or 5 hours a day. You need to be locking in and really honing in on what it is that you want. For me, that was that freedom of mobility. So that's why I was willing to sacrifice and really become obsessed with the process as well as being obsessed with the work. So it got to the point where I'm constantly looking at real estate deals. I'm at the job, right? So I got so efficient at my job that I'm able to knock out my job in a couple hours and then spend that rest of that time looking at deals, making calls, networking with realtors, right? Putting the next plays together, figuring out how I can use leverage so that way I can learn how to fund my real estate dreams using OPM, other people's money.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I did. And that's what the best part about it is, I didn't necessarily have a mentor. I wish I had a mentor because I would have been able to get a lot further than where I am today. But I still said, I'm still going to get there no matter what, right? So I'm listening to these different audiobooks. So I made the audiobooks, they're actually my mentors, right? So I didn't have anyone I could physically talk to, but those audiobooks and just listening to them over and over and over again. But I think it was that mindset. That mindset of just wanting more in life. That mindset that I'm not going to be a victim in this life, right? You only get one life. So a lot of people take the victim approach, like, oh, I wasn't born into wealth. Oh, I came from this block, that block. And they put those crippling factors on themselves simply because it's really a cop-out. That's the easy way out to blame someone else to why you're not where you want to be. Right? So I could have very easily said, you know what? I'm just going to, I want this freedom, mobility. The job doesn't want to give me a raise. They're picking on me. They're making me work these extra hours and not giving me these bonuses and so forth, right? But I said, no, I need a clear vision of how I can get there. How can I give my own raises? Right? So by me renting those rooms out, I got my own raises. But another thing that was very important was you got to know what to do with the money. So a lot of people will get that extra $1,000, extra $1,500, $2,000. What do? Most people get stuck right in that beginning phase. So before they even get a chance to break out, even while they're in that cocoon phase, as soon as they get a little bit of progress, they're going to go ahead and blow that progress, right? So now you're in a situation where you got that extra $1,000. Now you go ahead and increase your expenses $1,000, $1,500. Now you're right back at square one. Could you imagine if I just went ahead and blew that $1,000, $1,500 when I was first getting those rent payments? I would have still been in that garage. I would have still been at Bank of America. I would have still been clocking in and out, asking for another man for permission to take some days off to spend time with my family, right? But the key was I was disciplined, right? So no matter what business you're in, even if you decide not to go the real estate route, you have to have discipline. If you don't have discipline, then all else is going to fail. So I had that discipline to put that money away into investments, right? Put that money to the side to get ready to buy that next investment property, right? And then the next property after that. So that's really what it came down to. And just once I started to accumulate these investment properties, I started tapping into something called Section 8, right? So my cousin put me onto this whole Section 8 game where she only had to pay like $100 of her $1,300 rent, right? So now that's taught me another avenue to make money because a lot of people are like, oh, it's risky. What if they don't pay you? So now I figured out how to tap into these different agencies. There's the government agencies, there's the veteran housing, right? There's a huge right now, there's a shortage of affordable housing across the country.
Absolutely,
So now I could be someone that provides this affordable housing to the masses. Now I'm always going to be able to eat, right? Because people, again, what they need? They need food, shelter, and water. Right? So if I'm one of the people that's providing that shelter, but I figured out a way how to get those guaranteed rent payments coming in every single month. So now it's COVID. A lot of people are experiencing, oh, I'm not receiving rent. People not paying me, right? So I've gotten paid significantly during the pandemic, during the government shutdown, during any nationalization scare, right? Because I positioned myself to be where I'm providing people with affordable housing.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So just being able to understand the market and being able to, like right now, what I specialize is going into the hood. People forget that they're like, the hood is dangerous. There's killings, there's crime, there's drugs, there's all this stuff going on in the hood, right? A lot of negative. You watch the news, you'd be like, oh man, I'm not stepping foot outside right now. It's crazy out here, right? But that's where the gold is, right?
Always been.
So like you go inside the vault, there's gold, there's billions, you know what I mean? There's billions back there.
Facts.
So that's how I see the hood. So people see the hood and they see all this negative, but I see nothing but positivity in there. And I see nothing but opportunity. I can go down a block of dilapidated buildings and be like, yo, there's over $1 million on this block, right? All you have to do is know how to tap into it. So now I specialize in tapping into these abandoned structures, these buildings that have been vacant for years and years and years, right? Able to purchase them for the low, fix them up, be my own general contractor. So be your own, that's a whole nother play.
Man. And so, wait. So now, right? At what point were you able to retire your job?
Yeah.
Right. When were you able to give them the 2 weeks notice?
Yep. So I gave them the 2 weeks. I was 5 years at Bank of America.
Yeah.
I was 2 years at this Japanese company, Fuji Ribio.
Yeah.
Doing finance for them.
Yeah.
Then the last 2 years was selling acoustical ceiling tiles. So I was out in the field, and I'm talking about the last job was sweet. Gave me a company car, credit card, made my own schedule, my own hours.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where I didn't want to get these phone calls. Hey, Doug, did you get that email? Yeah. So it got so bad that I lost the company phone and I lost the company iPad. Yeah. Right. So you can imagine you work for a company like, yo, Doug, you didn't pick up your phone. I was like, yo, I don't even know where the phone's at. Yeah. But it got to a point where my cash flow that was coming in from these rents exceeded what I was making at the day job. Yeah. Right. And then once I learned how to make money, be my own general contractor, it didn't make any sense for me to rely on someone else to put that food on my table. Because like, you know what, at this point in my life, I know how to fish. So once you know how to fish, I know how to eat forever. So that's the point where I started evaluating my time, that my time is no longer worth $120,000, right? My time is worth way more than that. And these people can't pay me. They can't pay me $1 million a year for me to work for them and give my time, right? Because I know that by me working for myself and putting these plays together and having that cash flow coming in, just providing housing, right, that I'll be able to eat forever and that there's no limit whatsoever. So I don't want to be in a situation where there's limits. Right? I can't go ahead and make more than the owner of the company. Right. So I knew at that point that I had to take a risk and bet on myself. It really wasn't a risk because it's a proven, right? Over those 8 years, I've proven that it worked. Right. Now, of course, there was bumps and bruises along the way, but I knew that I was proven, I was battle tested. I know that any and everything that I want, I could have. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna leave this job. And then what happened? Our real estate business even accelerated even more, 10x.
And so a couple of things though, right? Because I wanna unpack some of the things. I think number one of the important things to unpack for anybody who's like really listening, right? Like if you're really listening, there's power in contrast, right? Because, here you are growing up sort of middle income, but still having the experience of having to visit your brother in jail and knowing what you don't want, right? Which is where the contrast comes in at. Because when you know what you don't want, you're able to see that part of the life. Then you're able to see, your friends who are having the bar mitzvah, the bat mitzvahs, they're living this abundant life on a different level. And so you're like, this or that, or that, right? So now you get to that contrast that's telling you, which direction you want to go. And so now you make a decision that this is, like you said, I can't unsee this. And so now you that contrast is really, really good because those who know what they don't want are in a position to know what they do want. And then now you make a decision that this is what I want. And at the time, you're willing to do anything that it takes for you to get what you want, including, choosing freedom and mobility over love, right? Over, someone that you're in a relationship that you have the foresight, right? Like, listen, baby, I love you, but at the end of the day, we're not going in the same place. We're not going in the same direction. So we got to go willing to temporarily take a step back, right? Become that caterpillar, become that, go in that cocoon in order to create that butterfly effect where now you're flying and soaring. And so take us to what does the empire look like now? So you made all those sacrifices. Yeah. You got to a space where you said, you know what, I'm a bet on myself. Yeah. Give me the life of Doug Depte. Give me the empire.
Hey, listen. So we literally built the empire starting off that first property, right? Yeah. It's the power of one. That's really all it takes, right? Yeah. A lot of people see, I want 1,000 houses, right? Let's just go ahead and get that first property, right? So that power of one started to multiply. Yeah. Right, so just started to put my money to work, build up that empire. Yeah. So now, I mean, people ask me all the time, like, how many properties do you have and so forth. And to be honest with you, I don't know, and it's not enough, right? And the reason why I had that mentality that it's not enough is simply because, imagine playing the game of basketball, right? I'm a basketball player, or used to be, a good basketball player, what have you. But imagine
you're a hooper for life, bro.
Yeah,
don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. So imagine you make a layup. Yeah. And the first thing you do, you run to the scoreboard. Yo, how many points is that? Okay, cool. You make a block shot, run over, how many blocks? Okay, cool. I get a steal, how many, right? You're starting to put limits on yourself. You're starting to celebrate a little too early, right? Yeah. So I'm not where I need to be, so I don't have enough properties, right? So that helps me keep that killer instinct. Yeah. Like for instance, last week, we closed on like 3 deals. I got, 15 units in the chamber that we'll be closing in the next 15 days. Yeah. So the unit count is constantly elevating, right? So like the life of me is, I'm constantly looking at deals. Like I was up this morning at 4:30 looking at deals, right? Because I don't have enough, right? Because I still have that hunger, right? I'm still starving essentially, right? So now we're at a situation where we're picking up single families, small multi-families, and we're getting ready to do ground up construction. Wow. So I'm all about challenging myself and pushing myself, right? Yeah. So just in these next 30 days, we're picking up 22 parcels of land or pieces of land where I could do 22 units. Wow. So there's some triplex parcels, 6-unit parcels and so forth, right? Yeah. So I'm constantly challenging myself. Yeah. But the day in the life is putting plays together essentially, right? Yeah. So I'm up atop here, say, okay, we're gonna buy these 6 properties here, are active construction sites. Yeah. Let's go ahead and put the play of what everything needs in order to be fully completed, right? And then once those properties and projects are complete, then what we'll do is we'll get them tenanted. Then once we get those properties tenanted, we'll be able to refinance those properties, get our initial cash back, right? And then be in a situation where we're recycling that money over and over again. Nice. So let me just give you kind of an example, right? So again, on Craigslist, I picked up this property for $25,000. This is right on Temple University's campus, right in North Philadelphia, right? You got the projects literally right across the street. Got it for $25,000. Needs a full gut renovation, right? So I picked it up for $25,000, but the value after it's fixed up is worth over $650,000. Wow. Right? And that's just me just being able to go fishing on Craigslist every single morning, right? So now I just got my budget approved.
But wait, how much work does it need? 25?
Yeah. So it's $25,000.
Yeah.
So I put the construction budget at $320,000. Just got approved, right? Yeah. But since I'm my own general contractor, I'm gonna be able to get the work done for $175 true cost. Sheesh. Right. So 320 minus 175. I don't have my calculator on me, but it's a couple dollars.
Right. So 320 minus 175, you talking 150? What's that? 150?
Yeah, 145.
145?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. That you pocket.
That pocket as the GC.
At the GC.
Right.
And you pocket first you chill, Doug. Chill. You pocket that as the GC. Right. But then once the work is done, now you've earned over $300,000 more in equity. Right. Sheesh.
So now you got something worth $650,000. Yeah. So if I take it to the bank and say, hey, I want to refinance this property at 75% of the value, right? So now let's do the math. 650 times 0.75. You're looking at, let's see, what's that? 650. What's that, like 120, 130, 140, 150? I think it's like 650 minus 150, so 600. Like they'll give me a loan for about 500,000. Wow. 500,000. So now if I go up to that 75%, 500,000 minus, I pay my short-term lender back. Yeah. They're 320. Yeah. So 500 minus 320. That's another like $180.
Yeah.
So now, if I wanted to really cream them, that's another 180 plus what I just made, 145 as the GC. Yeah. That's a $300,000 play. Wow. Roughly. And now we have 3 units. 3 units are going to rent anywhere between $1,200 to $1,400 per unit, right on college campus, right in an appreciating area. Right. So that's how, when I talk about learning how to fish so you can eat forever, like just do the math to make $300,000 at the bank. You know, let's say in the beginning I'm making $50,000 a year, right? But you're only really seeing 30, 35,000. Let's say we touching 30,000 of that. So that little play right there is equivalent to, so you're making 30 years. That's 10 years of my life working at the bank.
Absolutely.
That's 10 years of working life at the bank.
Off of one play, though.
Off of one play.
Which you're doing multiple of those plays, right?
That's why the power of knowledge and just knowing how, right? Why do you think people are buying up real estate? Like, we're in a piece of real estate right now, right? There's cranes everywhere. There's construction going on across the whole country, right? There's a reason why people are building right now. There's a reason why there's lumber shortages, because people are building, because they understand how real estate works. They understand that it's a numbers game, right? Once you understand the numbers, right, then you can eat forever. Absolutely. But far too often, a lot of people want to play the game of real estate without understanding the numbers. So all it is a number. I'm a finance guy, so I'm looking at, do the numbers make sense? All right, that's the deal. I'm gonna buy it. Nice. I care almost less about the condition. I care about how the numbers look. Right. So you see, far too often, people just want to go ahead and get into real estate just for, I own real estate. But are you cash flowing? Do the deals make sense? Are you buying the deals at 65% of the ARV, the after repair value? Right. I make sure that, especially in my trainings, I'm teaching everybody how to analyze a deal, how to buy a deal appropriately. Right. So when I'm buying these deals, I'm buying them at 65% of the value. So that means if I find something, it's worth $100,000, I need to be all in at $65,000. I'm talking about from the purchase and the construction. This is going to ensure me that I'm going to get all of my initial money that I put out. I'm going to get that money right back. So now, like the old way I went about investing in real estate, I'll put 20% down, but that money will be depleted. I have to wait for it to build back up. But now when I buy these properties, I put the money out. Then when the project's done, I get that same money right back in addition to the extra GC fee, in addition to the extra cash surplus from when I do the refinance. So now imagine that you start off with a certain amount of money, but you're able to continue to roll it through the funnel, right? The system, the cycle. But every time you go through a full cycle, you get your initial money back and then some on top, but you get another asset that's pumping out more cash flow. Run it through the cycle again. You put that same money back out there, get that same money back, and then some more on top, plus that cash flow. So now all we're doing is we're recyclers. Right? So all
and using money the way it's supposed to be used, right? Because you reference, the richest man in Babylon. Richest man in Babylon will tell you make money, put it in a bank account, right? You got to deploy those soldiers, right? You got to deploy those soldiers. You got to put them to work. And so using money in that way, and so from now that you've built this massive real estate portfolio, this massive cash flow, what are some other things that you've decided to sort of like venture in? Are you strictly, in real estate, or is there other things that you've done to sort of like diversify?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What you're doing.
For sure. So a couple things that I've done, working on my third truck. So put my third truck on the road, and that's hands off. So that's just a nice passive way to go about, getting more passive income, right? So the way I see it, people's like, Doug, what are you doing about the lumber prices? Lumber prices going up. What are you going to do? You're going to keep building and so forth? So now I got this truck income coming in every week to offset the lumber cost, right? So now it also, because all about having that money work for you, right? So I'm literally just running it right through the mill. Now I say, okay, we're going to allocate some funds over here. So now also I have a sea moss gummy company, right? So now that I invested in the world's first sea moss gummy, 100% organic, no gelatin, vegan, halal, third-party tested, all that stuff.
I need that.
So I'm gonna send you a couple bottles.
Yeah, please.
But now we're able to not just service the United States. We're in the UK, right? We're opening up in a lot of countries across Europe, right? We have all the VATs and all the approvals and so forth. We're about to open up in Canada, so we're expanding that out. So it's constantly about growing and having your money multiply. That's why I love The Richest Man in Babylon, because it talks about the key principles to have your purse to fatten. Right? And you always, far too often people are not deploying their soldiers.
Yeah.
People want to sit there and look at their soldiers right in their bank account.
Yeah.
Soldiers are going to get fat, they're going to get sloppy,
Yeah.
they're not going to be in shape,
Right.
and they're going to start dying off early,
Facts.
right?
Yeah,
You don't want
yeah,
your soldiers dying off early.
Yeah.
You need your soldiers going out there and reproducing and conquering for you, right?
Oh,
So now they're able to go ahead and conquer and reproduce, grow.
Right.
Now when those soldiers come back to the camp, they're good. That Bart,
Yeah, and you know the funny thing about it, and I love that you just said that, because I think that's a common theme with people who know, right? People who understand how money works, people who are high earners. A few people even on the show have said, listen, the biggest mistake I've made was to have money sitting in a bank account, right? And the funny thing about it is that people believe, they look at money like a trophy, right? Like, and especially people who just have never had money before, right? And so people who come from a space of not having money, they wanna be able to accumulate, right? They wanna accumulate money. They wanna have this money, looking at them. They wanna, check their bank account and say, yes, I got 20,000, I got 100,000, I got $1 million. Like, they wanna do that, but it's one of the worst things that people could do, right? Because like you said, first of all, the bank is using your money. Right, and they're using it at a higher level. I mean, right? The bank is using your money at a higher level and getting rich off of it. They're giving you not even a % of what they're making. Like, they're giving you a fraction, right? That's a fraction of reserves. Right? So they give you a fraction of what's in there, and then. You're losing money because of inflation,
prices
and
going up.
You're losing money because you're not putting that money to deployment. So, sheesh. All right.
Like another thing about that real quick. People like, I could show you, so I can't show you 10 million in my bank account. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I could take you around and show you $10 million worth of real estate I own. You feel me?
Right.
So that's a little bit about what you said. Like, if I have a lot of money in my account, I'm thinking of the first thing, what can I buy to deploy this so I can have it earning for me, right? I'm not a big spender, I'm frugal. I get more joy and excitement out of buying buildings, buying properties, and just watching that money come back in and come right back to me on the refi.
And the great thing about that, though, because I always tell people that, find your passion, right? Find something you love, and that it should be impact over income. And I love that, even though, we joked about, giving your girl, 2 weeks notice and really just doing what you need to do. But the truth of the matter is that it's a basic need, right? And so when you think about, no disrespect to her, shout out to you, but if you think about your girl, your ex-girl, it was fear, right? It was really based on fear. It was fear that was holding her back. Fear from holding her back from seeing the light, right? Because what you were doing in essence, right? Think about these two guys who were coming from Vegas with not a place to live, but they got this new job and they try to figure things out. Like, it's like, where else can they find a place for $650? And so that's why I said your Airbnb before Airbnb, because you're providing that service, but it's literally saving somebody's life. That grandmother who needed that place to live, where she needs a place to live, and now you're giving her that. These people who are, who are ishing on the hood, who are thinking the hood is not a good place, don't go to the hood, but you're literally finding places in the hood. You're making it better.
Right.
In the hood. You're not turning your back to the hood, just saying, listen, I'm gonna make this better. I'm gonna provide low income housing to people in the hood, and I'm gonna benefit. I believe if you bless others, you're gonna get blessed right back. And so now, $10 million later, and continue to grow, like you're still adding to your net worth. You're adding to that. And so now the guy who was making $50,000, multi-millionaire, and continues to multiply, continues to help, so this is a phenomenal, space, a phenomenal story. I love what you're doing, and I don't want people to miss out on the fact that when you have value, when you provide impact, when you're helping others, there is a direct correlation, right? Not this pie in the sky, no. A direct correlation to, the things that you're able to get. And so I know you're frugal. And I before we even get into that, because I do know that you do have a program where you're teaching people this, right? And that's the other thing, right? I love how the saying where you say, if you give a man a fish, he's gonna eat for a day, right?
Yep.
But if you teach the man to fish, he's gonna eat forever. And so now, not only have you learned all of this information, and you're a walking testament that this actually works. You're battle tested, right? But you're actually also teaching people about how to do that. Talk about your program for me real quick.
Yeah, so real quick, it's all about teaching people how to fish, right?
Yeah.
So I know that over the last 10 years, I went through a lot of bumps and bruises, but I wish I had a blueprint to follow. Yeah. So with the teaching and the mentorship that I provide, I'm teaching people the exact steps to take. So now you no longer have to wait and go through all the challenges, right? And 10 years of mistakes, losing money and so forth, right? Yeah. Never want to put yourself in a situation where you can lose tons and thousands of dollars. It's real estate, right? But now I broke it down into easy to follow steps, right? Journey of 1,000 miles starts with 1 step. So now we're breaking those steps down and literally giving the blueprint that my mentees can follow, and they're seeing results, right? So it basically demystifies all of real estate, breaks it down into ways where you can go ahead and follow. So some of the ways, like for instance, I'm doing something special for just people that will listen to The Vault. Right?
Hey, fast shot, let's go. We love that.
So it's InsideTheVaultRE.com, right? So that's just for your guys, right? So InsideTheVaultRE.com. And also, if you ever want to follow me on Instagram, and executewithdoug.com as well. But with my program, it's going to be 6 months. You're tapping in with me, but you're learning the game, right? So every single week we have different calls going on, right? We're working on the mindset first. Then we're teaching you the principles and steps, right? We're talking about how to go about improving your credit, right? And going about getting high lines of credit as well. Like for instance, I just checked my American Express Platinum card today, and I have a range that I can go up to $600,000 on the Amex Platinum card, right? Nice. So we're showing you literally how to go about that. Also teaching you how to be your own general contractor. So far too often people fail in the game of real estate because of relying on someone else to put their properties together. Contractors running off with the money, right? Things not working and so forth, right? So now we're teaching you, if you want, to be your own general contractor, how to be paid being your own general contractor, right? We're also teaching you how to find real estate deals, and even teaching you how to go about finding these real estate deals and even flipping them to yourself, making money. But we're also teaching you other ways to make money through real estate. Like there's a floor play we didn't have time to talk about, but the floor play where you can make an extra $10,000, $20,000 a month just running floors and GCing, being the middleman on the floors. So we're doing all this in the mentorship, but the best part about it is it's the fast pass. So far too often, the other day I went to Six Flags, right? And for whatever reason, I was being frugal, and I didn't tap into the fast pass that they had. So I had to wait in line. So literally I spent 5 hours at Six Flags and only rode 3 rides. Wow. Whereas if I would have paid the additional money for the fast pass, I would have been able to ride about 20 rides in that same amount of time. Yeah. But that's kind of like how life is. That's how the game of real estate is, right?
Up, bro. So I see what you're doing out here. You barred up.
So if you want to be a part of that fast pass, that fast lane, tap in with the mentorship. It doesn't have to be me. It could be anyone, but make sure you tap into the blueprint so you can avoid a lot of costly mistakes and you can get to your goals a lot faster and have that freedom and mobility as well as that generational wealth.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. So make sure y'all check out InsideTheVaultRE.com. And so, I mean, knowing that you're frugal, though, I know that you're frugal, but you touch some coins, right? Yeah. What would you say has been the most extravagant thing you've done with money so far?
That's probably buying the house that I live in now.
Okay.
So still, a property and so forth. I said, hey, instead of me putting my money out, into a fancy sports car, still buy a house and live comfortably. Yeah. So that was probably the biggest check. I had to cut a check for about $200,000 for that. But we just refinanced down to 2.7% interest rates. Was able to do some maneuvers there. Nice. Other than that was
but
just.
Don't talk about the house though. Don't try to blase that. What kind of house is it? What is it looking like?
It's 5,000 square foot property, 7 beds, 4.5 baths, rooftop deck. 2-car garage, charger station for the Tesla.
Oh, okay.
All
right. Okay. Light work, Con Edison. Yeah. All right. And so, what would you say is the most impactful thing you've done with money?
I think the most impactful thing is literally just giving opportunities. So when I'm going into these neighborhoods, I'm giving people opportunity to work, to help and see the process of the construction, and also just always giving out free game and information. So like as I'm going through, even with my tenants and the people that live in the property, they're young kids. I'm talking with them, explaining how real estate works, right? Anytime I'm in the city, in the hood, essentially, I'm talking with people and explaining and breaking down the game so that way they can go ahead and take that information and run with it, right? So I'm real big on just giving information and giving value and teaching people how to fish. I've never really been big on just, hey, I'm going to give you a lot of fish, give you a bunch of turkeys, and then keep it moving. Right? I'd rather show you how to get the turkey. Right? So that's really what I pride on. So every person I talk to that's willing to listen, I'm constantly sharing game and information that could really change their life. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I could do from an impact is share my knowledge, share my information, because then those that are listening can use that information and change not just their lives, but their families' lives, their future generation lives. So I think that's really what I pride myself on right now.
No, I love it. And then if you had an opportunity though to, I mean, your trajectory was awesome. So, but if you had an opportunity to talk to Doug's 18-year-old self, what would you tell him? What advice would you give him?
Yeah, I think what I would have done would be buy property even earlier than what I bought it at, right? And really just work on the business lines of credit. So even typing in at 18, have that LLC set up, so now I can go ahead and get hundreds of thousands of dollars of funding. So now when I do come out the gate running and tapping into my real estate portfolio, I would be able to hit the ground harder. And the biggest of them all is tapping in with a mentorship. I'm a big do-it-yourself guy, not trying to spend a whole lot of money. So as a result, it took me a lot longer to get to where I needed to go. Whereas if I would have just sacrificed and paid money for a real good mentorship and learned the steps, basically handhold or able to look over someone's shoulder, I would have been able to propel that much faster, that much further, and it would have not had to give in 8 years in corporate America, right? Might only had to give them 2 years, right? So it would have shortened those times. That time frame.
No, I love it, love it, love it. All right, so we're gonna do a quick lightning round. So we are inside the vault, and so what we do with the lightning round, we take bank terms and we flip them a little bit. But you barred up, so you already know. All right, and so the first term we're gonna do is deposit slip, right? And so a deposit slip. You walk into the bank, you take the deposit slip, you write whatever you're gonna deposit, you give it to the teller deposits it. But for us inside the vault, deposit slip is a money mistake, right? You slip up with a deposit. So talk to me about the biggest deposit or the biggest money mistake or the biggest deposit slip that you've made in your journey so far.
All right, so that would have been where I gave a contractor $100,000 from the purchase of the property as well as to do the construction on the property. $100,000 cash, so I didn't use OPM, other people's money, and I gave the money to him too soon.
Wow.
So as a result of that, it took me 2 years to get that project complete.
Wow.
Because I heard excuses, right? There was Big Tank Week. Still to this day don't know who Big Tank is, and the Pope was in town. So never want to give too much money early on, especially when you're dealing with construction, because that contract is going to come with all type of excuses, especially when they have most of your funds. So I gave up too much money, $100,000 up front, learning experience, but I'm glad that I learned it because that is what catapulted me to be my own general contractor and not have to rely on someone else to put my projects together.
I love it, I love it. Second term is charge off, right? And so when you go, you use your credit card and you don't pay the bank back, the bank is going to try to get their money, but eventually they're going to charge the debt off, right? And so for us inside the vault, charge off is really what type of people or mindsets, and we know about the girlfriend, but what type of people or mindsets did you have to charge off during your journey?
Yeah, so a lot of friends, right? So a lot of friends that weren't going the same direction, right? They still wanted to go out and party, they still wanted to go watch the game, drink beers. I had to let them go, right? So I literally would only talk to not even a handful of people. It was probably like 1 or 2 people, while especially in the cocoon, right? Still to this day, I don't talk to everyone because a lot of people aren't going in the direction that I want to go in, right? I need to be speaking to people that are constantly positive, constantly looking to improve, constantly looking to better themselves. So there's a lot of people that had to be charged off. Even some family members had to get charged off, unfortunately. So it's just part of the game. When you are building and working towards success, you can't have that negativity. You can't have those people pulling you back. You can't have those people in your corner talking about what can't be done. I need to speak to people that talk about what can be done and that is possible.
No, I love it. I love it. And the last one is ATM, right? ATM machine is where you put your card in, you get some money back. And so you gave us a lot of bars. I hope y'all, if y'all didn't catch the bars, I need y'all to go back and watch this over because he gave us a lot of bars. And so for us, ATM is another teachable moment, right? I want you to give the listeners like all these moments you gave us, but give us another teachable moment, something that happened during your journey that you learned from, that has made you who you are today, that's helped you get to that next level. Give us another teachable moment.
Another teachable moment. Let's see, ATM. All right, so when I had that $100,000 tied up, you know, my cash was basically depleted, right? I was working at the bank. This is money that I was literally saving up. So I had to find alternative ways to go about funding my real estate deals because I knew I didn't want to stop. I couldn't stop my momentum, right? So what I did was I was always big on getting multiple credit cards. So you know how we would get these checks in the mail, right? So we get these checks in the mail. Typically, you would go from credit card companies. You would go ahead and shred them, throw them in the trash. So I said, you know what? I need cash, right? And I'm looking at these teaser rates. So 0% interest for 16 months, right? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna write this check to myself. And I'm gonna use this balance transfer check and transfer that money into my account. So then I use that money to go ahead and buy real estate. So now I had to get creative and think outside the box. So now I said, man, I worked so hard, went from a $200 credit card all the way up to $20,000, $30,000 credit cards, now $600,000 credit card. But I was able to tap into those balance transfers, write the check to myself, and then go ahead and buy real estate and fix real estate up, right? But the reason why I had so many credit cards was because now when I went ahead and dropped $60,000 off of these balance transfers, which is money from a card, it still didn't hurt my utilization because I was still under 30% because of the massive amount of credit cards that I had. So now fixed that property up, got it rented, but then I went to the bank to refinance that property. So now when I got the refinance check, that was enough to pay off that credit card. And then that was just another vehicle that I used to go ahead and buy properties using that credit card through the balance transfer.
Man, my guy Doug got all the bars. Listen, Doug Depte, I promise you, if like I said, man, this interview right here was nothing but bars. His story alone is inspiring. Someone who was willing to do what he needed to do to get to the next level, to build wealth. I need y'all to tap in InsideTheVaultRE.com. Learn from somebody. Like, get the fun pass or what is it?
The fast pass.
The fast pass. Get the fast pass, right? Look, 5 hours online where he could have did 20 rides, right? So if you know, get the fast pass. I promise you, one of the things that we pride ourselves here Inside the Vault is to bring you people who are not just like talkers and people who are faking jacks, like people who are really, making it happen in real life, in real time, who have the receipts. We check the receipts, we really know. And so tap in with Doug. Make sure you go to InsideTheVaultRE.com and really just, get that mentorship, because you need three things, right? You need three things in life. You need shelter, you need food, and you need water, right? And so we're providing you with that other thing. And so make sure you tap in. Doug, if they wanted to tap in with you and wanted to connect with you, where can they find you?
You can go to Instagram. Doug Depte is DOUG Depte. That's like the abbreviation for department with the E at the end. So it's DEPTE, right? And you can go to Execute with Doug as well. But definitely, man, I'm just thankful just to be out here,
my brother,
and share this information with your platform.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. We are closing the vault. Make sure y'all tap in, tune in, share this video, like this video, comment on this video. Check out InsideTheVaultRE.com. I'm going to see y'all next time for another powerful interview, because this is the most powerful, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. So tap in, tune in. I'll see you next time in God's will. Same time, same place. Peace.
You won't ask cash, you can catch it right here in the vault.